No engineering team ever breaks because of technology. They actually break because of people. Few years ago, I witnessed a situation where two brilliant tech leads almost tore apart a high performing engineering team. Neither was toxic, neither was incompetent. Both of them genuinely cared about company success. Yet, their conflict spread across teams, delayed decisions, and started affecting the morale. And what happened next taught me one of the most important leadership lessons that I have ever learned. And if you are a tech lead or engineering manager, this lesson could save you months of frustration. At very first glance, this looks like a story about two engineers disagreeing, but this is actually a story about leadership. Because what nearly broke the team wasn't a technical problem, it was communication problem. And what solved it wasn't architecture, it was understanding. Let's call them Rahul and Arjun. Both were exceptional tech leads. Rahul was known for moving fast. He believes execution beats perfection. And Arjun was known for building reliable systems. He believes reliability creates long term success. Both were respected and both were trusted. That's exactly why this conflict became more dangerous. Rahul and Arjun weren't average tech leads. These were the people others looked up to. When they spoke in meetings, people listened. When they made decisions, teams followed. The challenge wasn't competence. The challenge was that both had strong convictions about the future of the project. When smart people disagree, that's normal. In fact, it's healthy. But what happened here wasn't disagreement, it slowly became an attachment. Both people had emotionally invested in being right. What's fascinating is that both approaches were valid. Every engineering organization has this tension. One side wants speed, the other wants reliability. One side worries about market opportunities, and the other worries about technical depth. The problem starts when we assume only one side can win. Here's the first leadership lesson. Most leadership conflicts don't start because one person was wrong. They start because two people were optimizing for different outcomes. One wants speed and the other wants quality. One wants innovation and the other wants risk reduction. The mistake is when we assume that only one must win. This is where disagreement becomes more dangerous. Notice the shift? No one is talking about solutions anymore. People start defending their positions. This is when emotions enter the conversation. The goal quietly changes from solving the problem to proving a point. This is where many managers miss the warning signs. The moment people stop discussing ideas and start defending their positions, conversation slowly changes. Now, the goal is no longer solving the problem. The goal becomes protecting their identity. For example, managers start using statements like, I have already committed to this. My reputation depends on this. And everyone knows that this was my idea. So the conflict becomes more dangerous. One of the biggest myths in leadership is that the conflict stays between the people involved, but it actually doesn't. The moment leaders become divided, everyone around them feels it. Developers become uncertain, stakeholders receive mixed messages, and decision making slows down completely, and the trust begins to erode. Here's the second leadership lesson for you. One thing every engineering manager must understand: conflict never stays between two people, it spreads. Developers start taking sides, and meetings become political. Communication breaks down, and trust starts eroding. Let me share an incident that recently happened in a project meeting. The tech lead and a product manager were constantly disagreeing in sprint planning. The tech lead says, we need to fix the technical depth. And the product manager says, we need customer facing features. Every meeting has become a debate. And eventually, developers started asking, whose priorities should we follow. Teams become confused and velocity drops. Not because of work, but because leadership isn't aligned. So, always remember, when leaders conflict publicly without alignment, team loses confidence in priorities. People can't execute when they are receiving conflicting priorities. This is why leadership requires a different lens. Most people were looking at the technical disagreement, but Vikram wasn't. He was looking underneath it. Because the visible problem is rarely the real problem. And what he discovered was that trust had started breaking down. Now enter Vikram, the engineering manager. Most managers would do one of two things. Option 1, pick a side. Option 2, avoid the issue. Both are mistakes. Vikram chose a third option. Many managers rush into conflict with solutions, but Vikram understood something important. People don't want solutions until they feel understood. Before fixing anything, Vikram wanted to hear each person's perspective without judgment. He met them individually, and here's a powerful lesson. Before trying to solve a conflict, try to understand the fear behind it. When somebody strongly defends a position, ask yourself, what are they trying to protect? On the surface, Rahul looked impatient, but underneath that, urgency was the concern. He saw competitors moving quickly. He saw opportunities were disappearing. He genuinely believed bigger risk was moving too slowly. Rahul wasn't obsessed with speed. He was afraid of losing opportunity because he was well aware of market competition, innovation, and customer expectations. Arjun's perspective came from a different place. He had seen systems fail before. He had seen shortcuts create months of rework. His concern wasn't slowing the progress. His concern was protecting the customers and team's reputation. Arjun wasn't resisting the change. He was protecting the customers. His concerns were about outages, scalability, and technical depth. This is the moment every tech lead should pay attention to. Both tech leads cared deeply. Both of them wanted success. Neither was acting selfishly. The conflict was not about intentions. The conflict was about the perceived risk. This is the breakthrough most leaders never reach. Both people wanted the same thing, success. They simply feared different risks. Most conflicts are not about goals, they are about priorities. Then Vikram asked a question that had completely changed the conversation. Can you explain the other person's concern as well as they can? And the room suddenly went quiet. Not because they lack intelligence, but because they have spent months trying to be understood instead of understanding. This is one of the most powerful leadership questions that I have ever encountered. This is my favorite part of the story. Vikram asked, can you explain the other person's concern as well as they can? Silence. Neither could respond because neither had truly listened. Always make sure that you are actively listening, empathizing, and understanding before responding. Once mutual understanding was established, finding a solution became much easier. The answer was not choosing the speed, the answer was not choosing stability. It was designing a process that respected both the concerns. That is what great teams do. They integrate the perspectives instead of eliminating them. Once they understood each other, solution became obvious. Not speed, not stability. Speed with safeguard. Both perspectives mattered. If you are a tech lead or an engineering manager, this may be the important lesson from today's story. Leadership isn't about having the best answer. Leadership is about creating the conditions from where best answers can emerge. And this can only happen when people trust each other enough to collaborate. I would love to hear your experience. Have you ever experienced a conflict like this on your team? Maybe between developers, maybe between managers, maybe between stakeholders. What happened and what did you learn from it? Share your experience in the comments. The best leadership lessons often come from real stories. If you remember only one thing from this story, remember this. Great leaders don't resolve conflicts by proving who is right. Great leaders resolve conflicts by helping people understand each other. Next time, when you had a conflict in your team, don't ask who is right. Ask what each person is trying to protect. The single question changes the entire conversation. If you found this valuable, like the video and subscribe for more content on engineering leadership, communication, and influence. And in comments, what is the toughest leadership conflict that you had to resolve as a tech lead or an engineering manager? I would love to hear your story.